Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees online. Thank you very much for your presence. As we continue to associate with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, verses 1 to 15, the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uthapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dena Bando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Saptakanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuveva cha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnu Badaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pastutyadi Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sarva Shastra Puyusha Sarva Vedeka Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokai Triprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavato Prabhu Kalidvando Didaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O light breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actual Krishna who has returned amongst us. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshasha Rayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, offer respectful obeisance unto you. By reading one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love, God, upon the reader. You always to be served by everyone, for you are incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madekabando Mad Sangem Mad Guru Man Mahadana Man Nishtaraka Mad Bhagya Madananda Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisance to you. Asadu sadhu tadainatini chochataraka hanam chakada chinmam premna hritkatayaspura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O give us saintliness to run saintly, O uplift to the very fallen. Please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest, Mahatma truth, accompany pure love of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yotonvayari Tarataschalte Swabhigna Swaraj Tene Brahma Hidayadi Kavaye Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatrati Sargom Mrisha Damna Swena Sada Nirastakokam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O pervading personality of Godhead, offer my respectful obeisance unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because the absolute truth and primary cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations and is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed in illusion, as one is bewildered by illusory representation of water seen in far lands in water. Only because of him did the material universe temporarily manifest by the reaction of three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, because, who is eternally existing and transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Prainalpaisha sabya kalabasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya upadhrata. Learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men but short lives, the quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Narayan Namaskritya Narachevam Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Before you reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of God in Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Savaipum Sabarodharma Yotho Bhaktira Dokshaja Ahitukya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasiddhati, the supreme occupation, dharma of all humanities, that by which man can attain to loving devotional service under the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated, uninterrupted, completely satisfy the self. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Yatyusa Vairagyam Jnanam Chaya Dahitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the person of God, Shri Krishna, one immediately causes knowledge and detachment from the world. Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Sabhyate. Learn the transcendentalists who know the absolute truth calls non-dual substance Brahman Paramatma Bhagavan. Shru Shru Sho Shabdanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchi Syan Mahats Vaya Vipra Punyar Tirtha Nishevanat. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shranvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ryadanta Stoya Badrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Shri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed an urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. Nastaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatutamashloker Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. By regular attendance in the class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering a service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed in loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs established as an irrevocable fact. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janmalava Para Samante Narayana Smriti, the highest perfection of human life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit or practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udariditi vrena bhakti yogena yajade purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, where they be full of all material desires, without any material desires, and desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing Srimad Bhagavatam based on the teachings of Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Let us cover any feedback anyone has from the last session where Vidura has requested Uddhava to speak. He asked questions to Uddhava about the situation of the family members of Krishna and those connected to Krishna. How are they? And Uddhava began to speak. And we started hearing about Krishna's pastimes, his appearance, his qualities, his appearance. And in the last session, we covered Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, which are very, very special. And the only reason why the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan and the residents of Vrindavan are special is because they do not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They accept Krishna as one of them. They accept Krishna as their friend, as their dependent, as their lover. This is a very, very exalted and high level of relationship. One can have different relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the relationships in Vrindavan are the most exalted, therefore most glorified, and they give Krishna the greatest pleasure. It is not that if one is a servant, one is not giving Krishna pleasure. But if one is relating with Krishna on a higher level, a higher relationship, naturally that gives greater pleasure to Krishna. Now, Uddhava is going to be speaking about Krishna's pastimes out of Vrindavan. So we're going to be covering the first 15 verses, Krishna's education and marriage, and the killing of demons and the Kurukshetra war. Text 1. before we cover text 1. Shamananda Prabhu says, Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji. Nice reminders from Uddhava, absorbed in thought of Krishna and associates. Also nice details in the purport from Srila Prabhupada of Vrindavan life. Vrindavan is Krishna's home, and it's the most opulent spiritual realm in creation. In Dwarka, Krishna wear golden sandals. Yet, in Vrindavan, even though Krishna is not wearing any sandals, he's bare feet, but that abode is more opulent. So the opulence is not of the glamour and the gold that is there, but it is of the natural elements, the simplicity and the beauty. Like Srila Prabhupada was making the point, so many varieties of fruits, so many varieties of birds, insects, flowers. So Vrindavan is rich like that. And naturally, that is Krishna's home. Therefore, anything that's more dear to Krishna should be dear to us. And home is where you feel most comfortable. After a long journey, you would prefer the environment of your home. It's relaxing. It's the best environment for one. So Krishna, his home is Vrindavan. Therefore, it is a very, very special place. And not only is it home for Krishna, but in Vrindavan, Krishna is not God. In Dwarka, in Vaikuntha, and even in the material world, Krishna is the supreme. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. But in Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is a simple coward boy. So that is very sweet, that is very wonderful. And our attraction to Krishna should evolve slowly, gradually to Krishna in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada often in his purports would make this point that yes, Narayan is God, Ram is God, they're all the supreme personality of Godhead. But as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and Prabhupada doesn't make the point, or he doesn't write as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Prabhupada's revealing his heart. Everyone should try to become attached to this form of Krishna, this two-arm form, because it's the most sweetest, it's the most lovable, it's the most exalted, highest, perfected form of Krishna. So, therefore, Vrindavan is our goal, our home. Mother Les says, Hare Krishna, until Krishna reveals to us what our special relationship is with him, we should think ourselves as his loving servants. Yes, we should not try to speculate or superimpose a relationship. Oh, I like to be a gopi. I like to be this. I like to be that. No. Srijit Mahaprabhu taught us that we should be servants. And we should have that dasya, servitude, consciousness. Before we can even have a relationship with Krishna, we need to be a servant of Krishna. Without being a servant, rendering service, there is absolutely no question of having a higher relationship with Krishna. If you don't like to serve somebody, why would you even want to relate to that person? If you envy someone, you don't want to see them. You don't want to be in their association. It's the nature of envy. So in order for us to have, or at least in order for us to revive our eternal relationship with Krishna, whatever that may be, according to Krishna's pleasure, we must develop the attitude of service. Otherwise, there is no question of spiritual perfection and perfecting our relationship with Krishna. Ray says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, please guide to assist me during Krishna being dispatched by his father. Was that Krishna aware of his education, or was it his father's thought of reality? Both. So his father, and when we get to the 10th canto, especially the section where Krishna is appearing in the cell of Kamsa, there in the verses, beautiful verses, and even the purports, Prabhupada is expanding that Krishna appeared as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Narayan, form, to highlight to his parents that firstly, I am God, and you both prayed for God to be your son, therefore I'm appearing. And then after that episode, Krishna is requested to become a baby. So Krishna becomes a baby, Narayan form into a baby form. And the love that Mother Devaki and Vasudeva have for Krishna overpowers that knowledge that he's God. And this type of experience is facilitated by Yogamaya. Yogamaya is said to be so fine-tuned to Krishna's desire that it's Krishna's desire. She can arrange everything perfectly as Krishna desires. So therefore you'll find in Krishna's pastimes, in certain episodes, Krishna reveals his supremacy. And then all of a sudden, his devotees can forget his supremacy. So when Krishna is revealing his supremacy, they understand he's God. But then when Yoga Maya again covers and their love supersedes, then Vasudeva is thinking that, oh, I need to protect Krishna. I need to do something. But, oh, Krishna did say I must take him to Gokul. Let me do that. So in this way, he's directed, but his heart is also directing how he should protect Krishna and take Krishna. Because if you consider, if Vasudeva already remembered and never forgot that Krishna is the supreme, then he could have said, well, Krishna, you can make arrangements. I mean, we're going through the Yamuna. He's not going to fear, he's not going to feel an anxiety because he knows this is God, he can do anything. And we know that when the Yamuna was rising more and more to touch Krishna's lotus feet, because Krishna was held in the basket and Yamuna was rising. And eventually, it's described that Krishna, in some cases, falls in the Yamuna, and Vasudeva becomes traumatized. Why? Because he's convinced, this is my son. I need to protect him. So then he tries to fight in the Yamuna, trying to look for Krishna, and eventually gets Krishna and is relieved. So in this way, we can see he's not pretending, but he's actually convinced Krishna is his son. And similarly, Krishna also is not pretending. And again, Yogamaya facilitates. When Krishna's, let's say, identity as the Supreme Lord to fight the demons, or when Krishna is basically being chased with a stick and is fearful, And these are inconceivable to those who are non-devotees. They will not be able to comprehend this. It's like a split. It's like Krishna has a split personality. He's God and he's not God. So it becomes bewildering. And yes, it may be bewildering, but for us, it's not a question. It's not that you need to understand Krishna to go back to Godhead. That is not perfection. Perfection is not about understanding God to go back to Godhead, understanding how Krishna deals in every situation, go back to Godhead. No, perfection means just love Krishna. Just become attached to hearing about his glories. How he does what he does is always perfect. And sometimes, or most of the times, it may be inconceivable. It may, we not be able to comprehend it. Doesn't matter. We should accept that this is my limitation. It's got nothing to do with Krishna. Krishna is always perfect. And in some situations, Krishna may do something that apparently doesn't gel with my understanding. It's okay. He's perfect. Whatever he does is always glorious, always perfect, and always a blessing. All right, text 1. Uddhava uvacha tata sa agatya param pu tata sa agatya puram swapitros Chikirsaya Sambaladeva Samyuta Nirpatya Tungad Ripu Yuta Natam Atam Vyakarshad Vyusum Ojasor Vyam. Sri Uddhava said. Thereafter, Lord Krishna went to Mathura city. Thereafter means after Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan with Sri Baladev. And to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. So Krishna kills Kamsa and then drags his body. Now someone may challenge, somebody may question. It's like, how can Krishna be so nasty? How can he do this? And again, as we mentioned, our objective is not to understand why Krishna is doing what he's doing, like with our intelligence. Our objective is to engage the heart before the intelligence in Krishna's pastimes. Because there must be a reason why Krishna is doing that. And we may not on first hand be able to see that reason. Therefore, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada will highlight the reason in his purports. So let's see why Krishna, because Krishna could have killed him and that's it, done, victorious. But no, he kills him and then he drags his body. Somebody will say, but it's like, it's like you're really revealing your anger by doing that. It's like a murderer goes in a home, kills the family in the house, and then not only kills them, but then he starts to cut their bodies to pieces. So clearly killing them was bad enough, but then you cut their bodies to pieces. It reveals some disturbance in the consciousness of the murderer. So let's see why Krishna did this. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes are vividly and elaborately described in the 10th canto. And all the verses that we're going to cover, they're just giving a glimpse. The details are in the 10th canto. And as we systematically go through each canto and get our psyche adjusted, We're going through, it's called spiritual counseling. Bhagavatam is giving spiritual counseling because all our psyche, is like disturbed with material association. So the Bhagavatam is fixing our psyche so that our psyche, our mind, our heart, purifying ourselves through Prabhupada's purports also, so that when we get to the 10th canto, we entering with the proper consciousness, proper mindset, proper open heart that is perfect, that's a perfect receptacle to allow Krishna in. It is not a cheap or simple process. As Prabhupada would say, Krishna is not cheap. So therefore, it requires some cultivation. And the Bhagavatam is facilitating that cultivation. The Lord proved to be a worthy son of his parents, even at the age of 16 years. Both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudev and Devki. Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudev and Devki never thought that Krishna and Balaram or Baladev would be able to kill such a great and strong enemy. So as I was describing, here we see somebody may question, but hold on, Krishna appeared as Narayan, form. They knew he's God. He could have easily killed Kamsa. So how come it's mentioned here that they were comparing Kamsa was a big giant to the power of Narayan? And they were fearful, they were scared, they were in anxiety because their love for Krishna overpowered that understanding that Krishna is the supreme. And now they're seeing only their son. Now, even with Devki and Vasudev, in the 10th canto also this is brought up, that their relationship with Krishna is not completely free from awe and reverence. It's not completely free from Aishwarya, the knowledge that Krishna is God. Whereas with Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, their relationship is of a greater nature. Their parental relationship with Krishna is of a greater nature because there is no question of Aishwarya. There's no question of Krishna being the supreme. When the two brothers attack Kamsa on the throne, their parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get the opportunity to kill their sons, whom they had hidden for so long in the house of Nanda Maharaj. So they were fearing. Why? Because Krishna is our son, and we took him and hid him in Gokul with Nanda Maharaj. And now he's coming right in front. So naturally, that love of having Krishna as the son caused them to fear. The parents of the Lord, due to parental affection, felt extreme danger and they almost fainted. You would not faint if you're pretending. Like Prabhupada writes, that it's very difficult to wake up someone who's pretending to sleep. It's easy to wake up somebody who's asleep. But somebody who's pretending, you can't wake them up. So if Nanda Maharaj, if Vasudev and Devki were pretending, then their fear was basically just like a mental concoction. They're just acting. It's like they're not experiencing anything. But this is not the case. Because they've almost fainted. We find even when Krishna is on Kalya. The residents, they practically faint, unconscious, seeing Krishna in this situation. Whenever demons would attack Mother Yashoda, she would be traumatized. Just to convince them that they actually killed Kamsa, Krishna and Baladev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them. So Krishna kills Kamsa and then drags his body, giving a sign to his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, that see, he's dead. The body is not reacting. The body is not acting. It's dead. It's lifeless. His body is, I killed him. So in this way, he's encouraging his parents. So Krishna's behavior is not so much, he's not proving the fact that just see, I'm powerful, I kill them. No. He understands the heart of his parents. And in order to relieve the pain that they're going through, Krishna is acting like this so that their pain can be relieved. They can feel, oh, thank you, my Lord. Thank you, Narayan, for protecting Krishna. Kamsa is now finally dead. 2. Sandipena sakrit proktam Brahma ditya savishtaram tasme pradat varam putram mritam pancha jano dharat. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. Purport. No one but the Supreme Lord can become well versed in all the branches of the Vedic wisdom simply by hearing once from his teacher. So Krishna would also do many activities, perform many activities that were extraordinary. And here is one extraordinary activity. To learn all the Vedas just by hearing them once, learn all 64 arts, right? 1 or 2 months. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can do this. Now, many people would accept Krishna's powerful activities like this, that is described here, and say he was a great historic personality, and not even venture to understand that actually, yes, he performed great he performed great activities, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you'll see Prabhupada would blend both, that yes, he performed great activities, but why did he perform these amazing activities? Because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are envious, they will glorify Krishna's activities, but not accept and acknowledge that yes, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada continues, nor can anyone bring a dead body back to life after the soul has already gone to the region of Yamaraj. Jesus recovered somebody from the dead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recovered someone that left. So yes, great devotees, Narad Muni also did that. Great personalities can do that. But who, other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can go to Yamaloka after the soul has died for years? It's not like the soul dies now and then you get the soul. No, the soul's gone for many, many years. And you're able to now bring back that soul. That only God can do. But Lord Krishna ventured to the planets of Yamaloka and found the dead son of his teacher and brought him back to his father as a reward for the instructions received. The Lord is constitutionally well versed in all the Vedas, and yet to teach by example that everyone must go to learn the Vedas from an authorized teacher and must satisfy the teacher by service and reward. He himself adopted this. This is the lesson teacher Krishna is teaching. First, Sandipani Muni could understand, and in fact, let's just read that. Prabhupada is also speaking about that, and then we'll expand. The Lord offers his services to his teacher, Sandipani Muni, and the Muni, knowing the power of the Lord, asked something which was impossible to be done by anyone else. The teacher asked that his beloved son, who had died, be brought back to him, and the Lord fulfilled the request. The Lord is not, therefore, an ingrate to anyone who renders him some service, some sort of service. Ingrate means ungrateful. The devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march or devotional service. So first, we understand from Sandipani Muni's perspective, he could acknowledge and understand. He knew that Krishna is not an ordinary person, because Sandipani Muni is not ordinary. For you to be God's guru, you can't be ordinary. He could understand. And sometimes in these pastimes, like Sandipani Muni, he knows Krishna's glories, but as part of the Leela, he accepts the position to be a guru, knowing that Krishna is Jagat Guru. He's Guru of all gurus. He's the original guru. But Krishna is accepting the service, and Sandipani Muni is acknowledging that how wonderful, the Lord is giving me an opportunity to render the service. So he understands who Krishna is. And then to not directly say you the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because again, that is part of the Leela, but at the same time, to broadcast that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead indirectly to those who are open to accepting Krishna in their heart. Sandipani Muni says, because Krishna, he came and he says, you taught me, now I have to give Guru Dakshin, please request. And Sandipani Muni says, yes, please go and bring my son back. It's like, really? Your son is dead for many, many years. How is that even possible? That's not possible. My Lord, anything is possible for you. Why? Because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, you are the Lord of everything. And as the Lord of everything, both spiritual and material worlds, you can do anything because you're the Lord. All energies belong to you. And not only all energies, but Krishna's energies are said to be achintya, inconceivable energies. It's not something that you can comprehend with your mind. Krishna's energies can do bewildering, inconceivable things. That is why in many cases when people become bewildered, it's not surprising. If nobody became bewildered and baffled, that would be surprising, because that would mean Krishna's energies are not good enough to baffle people. They're not inconceivable. So Krishna's energies are inconceivable. Therefore, Krishna can do anything. And that is why the pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, because they were convinced of this point, for them, as Prabhupada would say, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. It's not in a pure devotee's dictionary. Why? Because anything is possible by Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's blessing, by Krishna's power. And as devotees, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami would always say that we want to practice Krishna consciousness seriously and sincerely so that we can tap into Krishna's magic. We want Krishna, we want Krishna to act through us. Yes, we have to act, but we want Krishna's potency to come through and act. Then you can see Krishna's magic. Very often we become our own obstacle to allow Krishna's magic, Krishna's potency, Krishna's energies, Krishna's desire to come through. So Sanipani Munin, understanding Krishna, tells Krishna to get his son. And clearly, only God can do that. And Krishna brings his son back. So this was one way Sanipani is revealing to the world that Krishna is supreme, and Krishna performs this act and therefore proves he's the supreme. Now Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is teaching by example that one needs to go to a guru and learn. So you'll find throughout Krishna's different pastimes and incarnations, there are certain lessons that Krishna teaches by personal example. So this is one example. That everyone must go to learn the Vedas from an authorized teacher and must satisfy the teacher by service and reward. This is the Vedic system. And Krishna adopts this. Otherwise, Krishna never becomes ignorant. He's always God, and eternally he would be God. It's not like he forgets. Now he has to go and get educated. No. Krishna, even as a baby, knew the 64 arts. He never forgets. But as pastimes to reciprocate with his devotees, Krishna is taking the role of a student. Now, Prabhupada at the end of the paragraph makes a wonderful point that Krishna is always grateful. Anyone who renders him some sort of service, Krishna is grateful. The devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotions. In Nectar Devotion, Srila Prabhupada is discussing the 64 qualities of Krishna. One of them is Krishna is grateful, Kritagna. And in there, Prabhupada is making the point that anyone who's chanting the holy names of Krishna, Krishna cannot forget them. This is the power. The greatest personality is that personality where you do the most insignificant service, and that person will never ever forget that service rendered. The converse is the greatest materialistic person is that you can render the greatest service and he'll forget. He'll not reciprocate. He'll not be grateful. So the pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, Krishna, even if you render little service, they become so indebted, so grateful. This is the nature of Krishna's heart. This is the nature of the pure devotee. What to talk about somebody who always engages in Krishna's service. Therefore, without doubt, Prabhupada is making the point that such a devotee who's sincerely trying to engage in rendering service to Krishna are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. That means If we sincerely render service and we're trying to cultivate that mood of serving Krishna, we're trying to sincerely follow Prabhupada's instructions, the future, the goal will be achieved without fail. Yes, there may be some delay, but that's all there will be, a delay. There will just be a time factor. And that is also why when they asked Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees you have? Prabhupada said, how many devotees do I have? Because of this point. Because anyone who is committed and sincerely engaging in rendering devotional service, the end goal is there will be pure devotees. It's only a question of time. Time is the only separating factor, nothing else. So this should give us hope that no matter how challenging, how difficult, how austere it may be to render service and continue to be Krishna conscious, we should know that Krishna is watching, Krishna is grateful, and Krishna will respond and reciprocate at each point in our life in the best possible way for us to progressively continue to finally achieve the ultimate. And the ultimate is we will meet Krishna face to face. Text 3. Samahuta Bhishmaka Kanyayaye Shriya Sarvan Nenam Bhusaye Sam Gandharva Vritya Mishatam Sobagan Yagre Padam Murdini Datat Suparna, attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka. Many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the others, hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. Purport. Princess Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, was actually as attractive as fortune itself, because she was as valuable as gold, both in color and in value. Since the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the property of the Supreme Lord, Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Krishna. So yes, because she's Lakshmi, she's gold. But it is not only the fact that she is Lakshmi that Krishna went, but we know that Rukmini was in love with Krishna. And how did she fall in love with Krishna? Simply by hearing the qualities of Krishna. She attracted Krishna's heart. Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Krishna, but Shishupal was selected as her bridegroom by Rukmini's elder brother. Although King Bhishmaka wanted his daughter to be married to Krishna, Rukmini invited Krishna to take her away from the clutches of Shishupal. So when the bridegroom, Shishupal, came there with his party with the desire to marry Rukmini, Krishna all of a sudden swept her from the scene, stepping over the heads of all the princes there, just as Garuda carried away nectar from the hands of the demigods. The incident of Krishna's kidnapping Rukmini will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. 4. Kakud mino vida nasod dam vita vitva swayam vare najitim uvacha tad bhagana manam apigrityato gnan jagnesh rata shastra brihatswa shastre. By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnajiti in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed and wounded all of them, but he was not hurt himself. So, here in this verse, this is one of the 5th queens of Krishna, Najati, and we know that many of the queens, they are expansions of Lakshmi Devi, and Lakshmi Devi is an expansion of Radhavani. So they end up in internal potencies, energies of Krishna. So Lakshmi Devi expands in 3 predominating expansions: Bhudevi, Shri Devi, and Nila Devi. So this Nila Devi is Najati that Krishna also married. 5. Priyam Prabhur Gramya Iva Priyaya Vidish Sud Archad Dyurtarum Yat Arte Vajrya Dravatam Sagan Gano Rusanda Kridam Rigo Nunam Amyam Vadumnam. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, handpicked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him. Purport. The Lord once went to the heavenly planet to present an earring to Aditi, the mother of the demigods, and his wife Satyabhama also went with him. So clearly, these are not ordinary personalities. There is a special flowering tree called the Parijata, which grows only in the heavenly planets, and Satyabhama wanted this tree. Just to please his wife, like an ordinary husband, the Lord brought back the tree and thus enraged Vajri, or the controller of the thunderbolt. Indra's wives inspired him to run after the Lord to fight, and Indra, because he was a handpicked husband, and also a fool, listened to them and dared to fight with Krishna. He was a fool on this occasion because he forgot that everything belongs to the Lord. So Krishna, he is the most perfect personality in creation. And when Krishna takes the role of a husband, when Krishna takes a role of a child, Krishna perfectly follows that role. When Krishna was a baby, perfect baby. Krishna is here as a husband, perfect husband. And because of their loving reciprocation, because of their love, the love of Satyabhama, Krishna was happy to serve her in this way. Indra, as Prabhupada is pointing out, he is seeing his fault in Krishna. Oh, just see Krishna as a handpicked husband. Satyabhama is asking him to bring take the Parijatri, and he's coming. He's got a nerve. He's got a cheek to come and pick up this tree from heaven. This tree belongs here. So he is handpicked, and he is seeing the handpicked quality in Krishna. This is what the Bhagavatam says. Atmavan manyate jagat. You see your qualities. The way you see the world is according to your perspective. But who is actually handpicked? It's actually Indra. And more so as probably saying he's a fool. Why is a fool? Because again, if you accept Krishna and you understand Krishna, then Krishna can do anything. If Krishna wants to take everything from heaven, so be it. He's God. He can do anything. This is how pure devotees, in many situations, they don't become bewildered. Why is Krishna doing this? No, he's God. He has the right, full right. He can do anything. Rather, they would try to see how glorious this is. The pure devotee will see, just see how wonderful. Because of the love, because of the devotional qualities and sentiments and her attachment to Krishna, Krishna was ready to do anything for Satyabhama. How wonderful. If Krishna is able to reciprocate with with Queen Satyabhama in this way because of her love and surrender, why would Krishna not reciprocate to those who are sincerely serving him? So this is how the pure devotee sees. Those who are envious, those who are fools, those who are illusioned, those who are covered, they would see like Indra. He has a nerve, he has a cheek to come and take this tree. This belongs to heaven. And yes, we know he fought with Krishna and Krishna taught him the lesson. Prabhupada continues, there was no fault on the part of the Lord, even though he took away the tree from the heavenly kingdom. But because Indra was handpicked, dominated by his beautiful wives like Sachi, he became a fool, just as all persons who are dominated by their wives are generally foolish. Indra thought that Krishna was handpicked husband who only by the will of his wife, Satyabhama, took away the property of heaven, and therefore he thought that Krishna could be punished. He forgot that the Lord is the proprietor of everything and cannot be handpicked. The Lord is fully independent, and by his will only, he can have hundreds and thousands of wives like Satyabhama. He was not therefore attached to Satyabhama because she was a beautiful wife, but he was pleased with her devotional service and thus wanted to reciprocate the unalloyed devotion of his devotee. Krishna never fails to reciprocate. Therefore, what is another name of Krishna? Please share in the chat. Prabhupada says Krishna never fails in reciprocating with his devotees. Therefore, Krishna's name is, please share in the chat. So Bhakta Vatsal means one who's very inclined to his devotees, one who's very attached to his devotees. That's Bhakta Vatsal. But somebody who never fails in reciprocating with his devotees. Because he's Bhakta Vatsal, he loves his devotees, he's inclined to his devotees. But that person who never fails in responding, in reciprocating, he's called, anyone? Starts with A. Think of all the names you know of Krishna with A. Also in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is called Achyuta, infallible. But yes, Achyuta, infallible. But why is he infallible? Not because of power. He's always victorious, but more so because Krishna never fails in reciprocating with his loving associates. This is basically Krishna book. The whole of Krishna book is Krishna's reciprocation. And even in Dwarka, Krishna is responding and reciprocating in so many wonderful ways. 6. Sutam ridekam vapushagrasantam dritsvas sunabon matitam daritryam amantritastat tanayaya sesham datva tadanta puram avishesham. Narakasura, the son of Daritri, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narakasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. It is said that in other Puranas that Narakasura was the son of Daritri, the earth, by the Lord himself. So Varadev, when Varadev picked up Mother Earth, there was a son in that relationship, Mother Varadev and Bhudevi or Bhumi Devi. Mother Earth accepted Varadev as husband, and their son is Narakasura. And he was, when he was born, he was a great devotee, the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he became a demon due to the bad association of Banasura. Bana, another demon. An atheist is called a demon. And it is a fact that even a person born of good parents can turn into a demon by bad association. What to talk about good parents? Here we talk about good parents. Here, even Krishna's own children, or Varadev's own son, became a demon. Why? How? By bad association. Birth is not always the criterion for goodness. Unless and until one is trained in the culture of good association, one cannot become good. Wonderful choice of words. Prabhupada is saying, unless one is trained in the culture of good association, it does not happen automatic. It needs to be cultured, like cultivation, grooming. There's a process. Someone also doesn't fall all of a sudden. That also had been cultured. How is it that some, in this case, for example, the Lord's own son was a great devotee, becomes a demon because the culture of association. He had started culturing bad association. Association can make you, and association can break you. Our spiritual life depends on our association. If you're careful about your association, you can make advancement. Prabhupada in Nectar of Instruction makes this point that this is why the society exists. Society exists only to give association. Because without association, you cannot make advancement in spiritual life. Associating with the devotees, associating with the Bhagavatam, associating with the deities, associating with the holy name, associating with Krishna Prasadam. It is all association. So if you don't culture this, you can't make advancement. And it's not like I can be associating with spiritual, as let's say goodness, as Prabhupada is talking about here, good association, and I can be neutral. There is no neutral relationship or neutral association. Association is either conducive to my Krishna consciousness, or association is detrimental to my Krishna consciousness. And at every moment, I'm choosing that association, either to choose to associate with Krishna, good association, or I choose to associate with Maya, bad association. There is no in between. And throughout my day, in every moment, every second, if I choose wisely, then I am culturing good association. Now, can I associate with Krishna 24 hours a day? Yes. But that means I'm a pure devotee. There will be times when my mind will go and have negative thoughts. It's not the end of the world. But that culture of negative association, if not checked by the intelligence, if it's not stopped and diverted, it will increase and increase and consume one. So when we generally come from, when we initially become devotees or practice spiritual life, we're coming from the environment of the mixed modes of goodness, passion, ignorance. So we definitely have negative baggage. Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada would write, means molding my life in a way that I'm becoming more and more conscious of Krishna. So that is why we need a culture of good association, so that constantly I'm trying to improve my life, to always remember Krishna and never forget him. We need to sharpen our buddhi, sharpen our intelligence, because it's the intelligence that will discriminate. This is not good. I should stop this. I need to reduce this. For example, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, who joined Prabhupada in the early days, he was attached to smoking. And he was very good at making deities, forms, sculpturing. So Prabhupada got him to make the forms of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra deities. But he was also attached to smoking. So Prabhupada comes one day to see how the service is going. And on Baladev's deity, on the top of Baladev's head, was a packet of cigarettes. So Prabhupada comes in, sees the packet of cigarettes, and takes his cane and hits the cigarette pack off. And then he tells Shyam Sundar Prabhu that don't let a cigarette come between you and Krishna. And you can smoke one less a day. So it wasn't stop smoking. but at least smoke one less a day. Reduce. If you're smoking 5 a day, smoke 4. Next day, 3. Next day, 2. Next day, 1. Eventually, 0. So this is also how we should adopt Krishna consciousness. If I have certain negative traits, it's not the end of the world. It's natural as conditioned souls. And Krishna also is a person. He understands, he knows, he sees. The pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada also understands. So if I have negative traits, I'm trying to reduce them. This is progress. If I have negative traits and I am increasing them, I am consciously putting fuel in that fire of negative traits. And more so, if I know it's wrong and I'm still doing it, then that can become destructive for progress, especially if you know. Then Krishna will have to use the school of heart knots, because it's clearly a sign that the education is not teaching you a lesson. You know, and yet you're doing the wrong thing. Now, you could know something is bad, and you could be doing the wrong thing, even when you know. What quality would determine whether you will progress or regress in that situation? Please type in the chat. You know something is wrong. You fall prey to it. What quality would determine whether you progress or regress? In that situation? Honesty. Okay. Any others? This quality we covered in the first canto. Sincere. Okay. Understand the situation. I know something is wrong. I know something is bad. I still fall prey to it. What quality, when I fall prey to it, will determine whether I progress or regress? So Shamananda Prabhu is getting hot. He says sorry. But sorry is hot, but not the right word that Prabhupada used in the first canto that we're looking for, which Prabhupada often brings up in the different reports of the Bhagavatam. Starts with R. Submissive? No. Starts with R. Remorse? Close. Repentance. When you're repentant, like you're sorry, you remorse. So remorse and sorry doesn't give the right word or right meaning. Repentance. So when one is repentant, that is a sign that I know this is wrong. I should not do it. Next time I need to be more careful. And you're repentant. because repentance means you're sorry that you did this. You shouldn't have done this. You're apologetic. You're begging Krishna to help you. You want to improve, but you have this weakness. And Prabhupada writes that if you have this repentance, quality of repentance, it burns away the reaction of sin. So if you're not repentant, it's okay. I mean, it's like, I'm not a pure devotee. It's okay. That motivates you to engage further. That becomes a sign of falling. So we want to learn the culturing of goodness, how to culture good association. If you're always staying in good association, then you'll always be protected. But when you're not in that good fortunate situation, then we have to be careful how we deal with the environment. In today's world, unfortunately, because of the internet, you can have the good, bad, and ugly all there. One sight away, one word away. And if you're not careful, you can bring in the culture of bad association just like that. Peer pressure, friends that are not according to the same frequency, that is also dangerous. Children are influenced most by peer pressure, more than even by their parents. Their parents will say, do this, but if my friend says do this, I'll listen to my friend. This is why association is very, very powerful. And we need to surround ourselves, whether we're children, whether we're adults, or whether we're elderly. We must always surround ourselves with good association. And if you have good association, you should be grateful and thankful to Krishna. Just like we are thankful to Zoom. That even though we are all separated, yet we're still able to associate and have that facility of association. Resilience means I'm able to continue to challenges. But here we're talking about when you fall prey to the negative qualities and traits and sinful habits that one has. We have negative thoughts, negative actions, negative behaviors. These negative habits, they will surface at certain times of the day, certain times in our life. Sometimes when we're weak, they may surface. We may have bad desires stocked up in our heart due to past sinful activities in our past lives. And all you need is that trigger of association to bring that desire up. And if you flare that desire can consume you. So therefore, it's not the end of the world, but we should be repentant and we should try to readjust the course. And in this way, continue. 7. Tatraritasta naradeva kanya kujena trishtva harimartha bandhum utaya sadyo jagro praharsam vridang nuraga prahitavalokai. There in the house of the demon, all the princesses kidnapped by Narakasura at once became alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy, and shyness, and offered to be his wives. Purport. Narakasura kidnapped many daughters of the great kings and kept them imprisoned in his palace. But when he was killed by the Lord, and the Lord entered the house of the demon, all the princesses were enlivened with joy and offered to become his wives, because the Lord is the only friend of the distressed. The Lord is the only friend of the distressed. When you're in distress, Krishna is the only friend. He's always there. Naturally, the pure devotee is also always there. Unless the Lord accepted them, there would be no chance of their being married, because the demon kidnapped them from their father's custody, and therefore no one would agree to marry them. According to Vedic society, girls are transferred from the custody of the father to the custody of the husband. Since the princesses had already been taken away from the custody of their father, it would have been difficult for them to have any husband other than the Lord himself. So it was actually a blessing that they got kidnapped by the demon. This is how life can turn. That misfortune can become the greatest fortune. And it can become the greatest fortune when Krishna is there. If Krishna is not there, then the greatest fortune in the world is the greatest misfortune. But if Krishna is coming into your life, somehow or other, even in tragic or misfortunate situations, that is the greatest fortune. 8. Asammuhurta ekasmin nanagare suyoshitam savidam jagre panin anurupa swamayaya. All those princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching in each and every princess. He accepted their hands in perfect rituals by his eternal potency. How wonderful. In Brahma Samhita 533, the Lord is described as follows in regard to his innumerable plenary expansions. Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha Vedeshu durlabham atma bhakto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The Lord Govinda, whom I worship, is the original personality of Godhead. He is non-different from his innumerable plenary expansions, who are all infallible, original, and unlimited, and who have eternal forms. Although he is primal, the oldest personality, he is always fresh and young. By his internal potency, the Lord can expand himself into various personalities of Swayam Prakash and again into Prabhava or Vaibhava forms, and all of them are non-different from one another. The forms into which the Lord expanded to marry the princesses in different apartments were all slightly different just to match each and every one of them. They are called Vaibhava Vilas forms of the Lord and are affected by this internal potency Yogamaya. So because they desired Krishna to be their husband and they fell in love with Krishna, Krishna accepted them. And again, here we see Krishna's wonderful quality of reciprocation. He's reciprocating perfectly. How? By assuming a form that's non-different from him, that is Krishna, but there is slight variations in these forms, therefore Vaibhav Vilas forms. And the variation, what determines the variation, the degree of variation, is the person Krishna is marrying. Because each of the princesses are different personalities. They're unique. They have different traits. No one is the same. No two souls are unique. No two souls are the same. Each soul is unique. That is why if every devotee that serves Krishna, even though, let's say if I give 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 devotees, and all these 1,000,000,000 devotees bake the exact same cake with the exact same recipe to offer to Krishna. Krishna will derive a million varieties of pleasure from that same cake that's offered. Why? Because these million souls or million devotees or trillion devotees are all unique. And therefore, everyone's devotional service that's rendered is unique according to their personality. And that is why Krishna deals uniquely and specially with each and every devotee, because they have a unique relationship and they are unique in themselves. Each one of us can offer Krishna a unique offering of devotion that no other devotee has, even though it is all devotional service. So this is very wonderful and special. And Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. 9. Tasva patyan ya janayad atma tulyani sarvata eke kasyam dasadasa prakriter vibhushaya. Just to expend himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offsprings with exactly his own qualities. So Krishna married them, and they had 10 children each. Each of the sons had different wonderful qualities of Krishna. Wonderful exhibition of Krishna's power, potency, reciprocation, qualities. And then Krishna is reciprocating with all of them, giving pleasure to each one accordingly. 10. Kalamagda Salvadin Anikai Rundata Puram Ajikhat Swayam Divyam Swapum Samteja Adishat. Kalayavana, the king of Magadha, and Salvia attacked the city of Mathura. But when the city was encircled by their soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally, just to show the power of his own men. Purport. After the death of Kamsa, when Mathura was encircled by the soldiers of Kalayavana, Jarasandh, and Salvia, the Lord seemingly fled from the city, and thus he is known as Ranchor, or one who fled from fighting. Actually, the fact was that the Lord wanted to kill them through the agency of his own men, devotees like Muchukunda and Bhima. Kalayavana and the king of Magda were killed by Muchukunda and Bhima respectively, who acted as agents of the Lord. By such acts, the Lord wanted to exhibit the prowess of his devotees, as if he were personally unable to fight, but his devotees could kill them. The relationship of the Lord with his devotees is a very happy one. Actually, the Lord descends at the request of Brahma in order to kill all the undesirables of the world. But to divide the share of the glory, he sometimes engaged his devotees to take the credit. The battle of Kurukshetra was designed by the Lord himself, but just to give credit to his devotee Arjuna, Nimittamatrena Bhava Sacha Savya Sachin. He played the part of the charioteer, while Arjuna was given the chance to play the fighter, and thus become the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra. What he wants to do himself by his transcendental plans, he executes through his confidential devotees. That is the way the Lord's mercy, that is the way of the Lord's mercy towards his pure, unalloyed devotees. So here we see Krishna running away, not because he's scared, not because he cannot fight. No. This is again Krishna's wonderful dealings with his devotees. He wants to glorify his devotees. The devotees want to glorify Krishna, and Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. This is the competition. Otherwise, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Why didn't he? He left it for the next acharyas in line. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur could have also preached all over the world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Samaj also could have preached all over the world. Why didn't they? They left it for Srila Prabhupada to give glory to Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, Prabhupada also could have preached in every nook and corner, cranny of the world, every village, every house. But why didn't he? He left it for us. They want to share the credits. So we also have opportunity to grab some credits, grab some mercy. This is the nature of the Lord. He wants to give credits to his devotees. So we see how Krishna is dealing externally, and you can perceive that external behavior in one way, but when you understand Krishna's heart, then you are able to see Krishna's dealings more sweet, more lovingly in relation to his devotees. So Prabhupada is bringing out all these inner dealings of Krishna with his devotees. 11. Sambaram dvividambanam muram balam eva cha anyamscha danta vakradin avadit kamscha katayat. Of kings like Sambara, Dvivida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons such as Dantavakra, some he killed himself and some he caused to be killed by others, Sri Baladev, etc. 12. Atate bratrir putranam pakshayo patitan ripan chachala bhu kuru shetram yesham apatatam balai. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the war fields. 13. Sakarna Dushashan Sobala Nam Kumantra Pakshena Hatasriya Yusham Suyodananam Sonucharam Sayanam Bhagno Rum Urvyam Nandana Pashyan. Duryodhan was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of his intricacies of ill advice given by Karna to Shashan and Sobala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thigh broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. Purport. The fall of Duryodhan, the leading son of Dhritarashtra, was not pleasing to the Lord. Although he was on the side of Arjuna, and it was he who advised Bhima how to break the thighs of Duryodhan while the fighting was going on. So here we see another contradictory aspect. If you see from the external or literal scene, Krishna was instrumental in telling Bhima how to hit below the waist and kill Duryodhan. But if you go deeper into Krishna's heart, he was not pleased. Why? The Lord is constrained to award punishment upon the wrongdoer, but he is not happy to award such punishments because the living entities are originally his parts and parcels. Krishna is related to us and we related to Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna's family. So even though we are suffering our karma, and the law of karma is created by Krishna, Krishna doesn't feel happy because we are related to him and he wants us to be happy in the spiritual world. He is harder than the thunderbolt for the wrongdoers and softer than the rose for the faithful. The wrongdoers is misled by bad associates and by ill advice, which is against the established principles of the Lord's order, and thus he becomes subject to punishment. The surest path to happiness is to live by the principle laid down by the Lord and not disobey his established laws, which are enunciated in the Vedas and the Puranas for the forgetful living entities. So yes, if you deviate, you will suffer, even though Krishna doesn't like you to suffer. Therefore, it causes you pain. But when you render service to him, when you are obedient to the principles of Krishna consciousness, when you follow, then it gives pleasure to Krishna. So appreciate this point that when the living entity is suffering, it gives Krishna pain. When you're suffering, it gives Krishna pain. When you are rendering service and trying to render service to Krishna in the best possible way, it gives Krishna pleasure. 14. Kiyan buvoyam sapitoru baro yadrona bhishma arjuna bhima mulay astada shaksho hi nukomad amsare aste balam durvishaham yadunam. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the great abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshohinis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden. So now here's another aspect of Krishna's behavior, where externally, if you hear, Krishna is saying his own family members, Yadus, are burden to Mother Earth. How can it be? Because they are his family members. They're supposed to be glorious. We need to have the acharyas and Srila Prabhupada to give us. Because if we had to just read the verses, we would think, okay, looks like the Yadavas also a burden. The battle, the soldiers were burdens, and the Kauravas were a burden, Duryodhan was a burden, and even the Yadav was a burden. No difference. There is a difference. There's a huge difference. But that difference can only be revealed by bona fide authorized acharyas coming in the line of the cyclic succession. Prabhupada writes, it is a wrong theory that due to an increase in population of the world, the world becomes overburdened, and therefore there are wars and other annihilating processes. So when one does not understand the science of Krishna consciousness, like the politicians, they will think, oh, if the population increases, there'll be less resources and there'll be burden on the earth. And we need to do something to reduce the population. Now, yes, if there's an increase in population and you are exploiting the resource of the earth, then there will be shortage. But if there's increase in population and you are serving the Supreme Lord, there will never be a burden. Prabhupada writes, the earth is never overburdened. The heaviest mountains and oceans on the face of the earth hold more living entities than there are human beings, and they are not overburdened. If a census were taken of all the living beings on the surface of the earth, certainly it will be found that the number of humans is not even 5% of the total number of living beings. If the birth rate of human beings is increasing, then the birth rate of other living beings is increasing proportionately. The birth rate of lower animals, beasts, aquatics, birds, etc., is far greater than that of human beings. There is an adequate arrangement for food for all living beings all over the earth by the order of the Supreme Lord. And he can arrange more and more if there is actually a disproportionate increase of living beings. So again, nothing is impossible, and Krishna has unlimited resources, and therefore there can never ever be any shortage. We create the shortage through exploitation, etc. Therefore, there is no question of an increase in population causing a burden. The earth became overburdened due to dharma glanir, or irregular discharge of the Lord's desire. Lord's desire, very beautiful. There is no question of an increase in population causing a burden. The earth became overburdened due to dharma glanir, deviation from dharma, but more specifically, or irregular discharge of the Lord's desire, because dharma means the laws of the Lord, the desire of the Lord. So as soon as people deviate from the desire of the Lord, we have burden. Your own life, there will be obstacles in your life. There will be burdens in your life. There will be traumas in your life. There will be distress in your life. Why? For the same reason. Glanir, dharma glanir, irregular discharge of the Lord's desire. You're deviating from the Lord's desire. Now, you're experiencing those things now because of past dharma glani, irregular discharge of the Lord's desire, ignoring the Lord's desire in the past. Now you understand that I'm suffering now because of that. Now I want to try to follow the Lord's desire. And how do we know the Lord's desire? Read Prabhupada's purpose. Prabhupada is guiding us. So now I want to follow Prabhupada. I want to try my best to follow Prabhupada. And if I try my best to follow Prabhupada, then that is regular discharge of the desire of the Lord. And this means that my future is no more burden. That means my future will not be distressful, will not be troublesome, challenging, traumatic, etc. So we're going through a transition phase right now. And while I'm going through the transition phase, guaranteed you will have situations that are not welcomed and pleasurable. What you have to do? Krishna says, Matras Parshas tu Konteya, Sitoshna Shukadukada. You have to tolerate. Because you are going through that transition. But rest assured, just as winter and summer seasons, they alternate. Winter will come, and summer will go, and summer will come. Then summer will go, winter will come. It's not going to be winter ever, and it's not going to be summer ever. So we simply have to tolerate and consistently continue to practice. And there will be a time when there will be no suffering. That said, it does not mean that a devotee will never suffer. Like Prabhupada suffered, but that type of suffering is totally different from materialistic suffering. So when we become pure, we may still suffer. Mother Yashoda was suffering. So suffering will be there, but that suffering will be on a spiritual platform in the pastimes of Krishna, not mundane suffering that's on the materialistic plane. The Lord appeared on the earth to curb the increase in miscreants and not to increase the population, as is wrongly put forward by mundane economists. When the Lord appeared, there had been a sufficient increase in miscreants who had violated the desire of the Lord. The material creation is meant for fulfilling the desire of the Lord. And his desire is that the conditioned souls who are unfit to enter into the kingdom of God have a chance to improve their conditions for entering. How wonderful. Somebody wants to know, what is Krishna's desire? Why am I in this material world? How do I help people in this material world? The material creation is meant for fulfilling the desire of the Lord. And his desire is that the conditioned souls, you, me, and everyone else, the birds, bees, insects, reptiles, aquatic, everyone else, who are unfit to enter into the kingdom of God. I'm unfit to enter the kingdom of God. But Krishna's desire is that they have a chance to improve their conditions for entering. By Prabhupada's mercy, we are improving our chance of entering the spiritual world. This is Krishna's desire. I can help others improve their condition for entering. Note, it's improving. That means I may do something very simple just to help someone improve one step, 1 degree. That gives Krishna pleasure. I may not help someone take them right now into the spiritual world, but I can at least help improve by exposing them to Krishna consciousness in some way or other for them to improve. This is Krishna consciousness. The entire process of cosmic arrangement is intended just to give a chance to the conditioned souls to enter the kingdom of God. And there is an adequate arrangement for their maintenance by the nature of the Lord. Therefore, although there may be a great increase in population on the surface of the earth, if the people are exactly in line with God consciousness and are not miscreants, such a burden on the earth is a source of pleasure for her. So becoming Krishna consciousness is a great pleasure for Mother Bhumi. So let's try to appreciate and understand what Prabhupada has done. We may help a soul improve a little by giving some prasadam. Just consider how much energy and resource and time did Prabhupada put to give us a chance. He built temples, gave deities, Krishna Prasad, books, devotee association, Vaishnav lifestyle. So many ways. Prabhupada did not leave anything unturned. In every possible way, according to the time that he had, he tried to give a chance. Or you could say he left behind a process, an approach that we could now leverage for ourselves and for others to give a chance to become Krishna conscious. How wonderful. There are two kinds of burdens. There is the burden of the beast and burden of love. The burden of the beast is unbearable, but the burden of love is a source of pleasure. Srila Vishwan Chakravarti Thakur describes the burden of love very practically. He says that the burden of a husband on the young wife, the burden of a child on the lap of the mother, and the burden of wealth on the businessman, although actually burdens from the viewpoints of heaviness, are sources of pleasure. And in the absence of such burdensome objects, one may feel the burden of separation, which is heavier to bear than the actual burden of love. When Lord Krishna referred to the burden of the Yadu dynasty on the earth, he referred to something different than the burden of the beast. The large number of family members born of Lord Krishna counted to some millions and was certainly a great increase in the population of the earth. But because all of them were expansions of the Lord himself, by his transcendental pleasure expansions, they were a source of great pleasure for the earth. When the Lord referred to them in connection with the burden of the earth, he had in mind their imminent disappearance from the earth. All the members of the family of Lord Krishna were incarnations of different demigods, and they were to disappear from the surface of the earth along with the Lord. When he referred to the unbearable heaviness on the earth in connection with the Yadu dynasty, he was referring to the burden of their separation. As Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this inference. So this is the burden that Krishna was talking about, the burden of separation. The Acharyas also described that if Krishna didn't kill the Yadavas, then they would be burden of beast to Mother Earth. How? Because they were expansions of Krishna. When Krishna would leave, and let's say Krishna leaves this world, and they left behind, they would feel so much separation that they would trample the earth with their feet in anxiety and separation. And that trampling on the earth would cause Mother Earth a burden and pain. So in order to relieve Mother Earth from that burden, Krishna wiped out his whole dynasty. 15. Vitoya desam bhavita vivado madavamat tatamrita vilochananam naisamba dopaya ishan atoyano mayudhyate nandarthadate swayam sma. When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. Purport. The Lord and his associates appear and disappear by the will of the Lord. They are not subject to the laws of material nature. No one was able to kill the family of the Lord, nor was there any possibility of their natural death by the laws of nature. The only means, therefore, for their disappearance was the make show of a fight among themselves, as if brawling in intoxication due to drinking. So again, here we see inconceivable pastimes of the Lord. Somebody, how can, I mean, the Krishna's family members, how can they drink and become intoxicated? This is like ridiculous. So Krishna is making arrangements. Krishna is taking advantage of the stage of the material world and enacting all his beautiful pastimes with his associates. The pure devotee, they just relish these dramas. That so-called fighting would also take place by the will of the Lord. Otherwise, there would be no cause of their fighting. Just as Arjuna was made to be illusioned by family affection, and thus the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, so the Yadu dynasty was made to be intoxicated by the will of the Lord and nothing more. Devotees and associates of the Lord are completely surrendered souls. Thus, they are transcendental instruments in the hands of the Lord and can be used in any way the Lord desires. The pure devotees also enjoy such pastimes of the Lord because they want to see him happy. Devotees of the Lord never assert independent individuality. On the contrary, they utilize their individuality to pursue the desires of the Lord. And this cooperation of the devotees with the Lord make a perfect scene of the pastime of the Lord's pastimes. Devotees of the Lord never assert independent individuality. Krishna never takes away the individuality. It's always there, but they don't assert it. On the contrary, they utilize their individuality in pursuit of the desires of the Lord. And this cooperation of the devotees with the Lord make a perfect scene of the Lord's pastime. Vantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gopramanande Hari Hari Bo. Are there any questions or comments, feedback anyone has? Amavati Nalini Kanta says, thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. So enlivened to hear about Krishna and Srila Prabhupada's beautiful purports. We can acknowledge this blessing and offer gratitude. Thank you very much for making this possible for all of us through the wonderful classes. Only a pleasure for my own purification. Yes. So we're hearing, Uddhava is sharing. He's seeing the glories of Krishna's pastimes, how Krishna is interacting in such amazing ways. And externally, those who are non-devotees, they would not understand why Krishna is behaving in certain ways. They would not appreciate how Krishna's associates are dealing in certain ways. But the pure devotee, whose eyes are tinged with salve of love, they see totally different. They see Krishna and Krishna's associates, Krishna's interactions with devotion. And in this way, by seeing Krishna in this way, we deepen our relationship with Krishna. We become more attached to Krishna. Our faith increases in Krishna. That yes, Krishna is perfect and he reciprocates perfectly in every possible way. We simply have to continue our journey on this path of Krishna consciousness with our difficulties, with our struggles, with our bad habits. Keep good association, persist, and keep moving forward. Because then, as Prabhupada is writing, the result is guaranteed. Chamananda Prabhu says, thank you very much, Prabhu Mataji, helping us associate Bhagavatam and the devotees. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Wonderful. So we will continue with this chapter next week or the week after, because I think there's we may postpone some of the classes. In August, we'll be in Durban. So we'll notify when there is no classes, but otherwise we shall continue. Nonetheless, thank you for the Transcendental Krishna Katha. Uddhava was recalling, it shows us how to recall and remember. Very nice example, yes. That is why regular hearing about Krishna's pastimes is important, so that it goes in our own psyche. And then at different points in our life, it can resurface. So hearing, remembering, and recollecting is very important. But we can only recollect when we have sufficiently contemplated on the pastime. So it goes deep. That's why contemplation is important. Or regular hearing, so that it goes in, and stays in. So therefore, yes, a very important principle. Because Uddhava is a pure devotee. Therefore, if he saw Krishna's pastimes once or hear Krishna's pastimes once, he remembered. Because they pure devotees become attached. As conditioned souls, we may hear something and it is like, I can speak for myself, I forget. Because why? There's no love, there's no attachment, there's no affection for Krishna. So therefore, we have to constantly hear again and again and again. And that constant hearing purifies our heart, which now makes it a better receptacle to absorb Krishna's pastimes in devotion. So in this way, it's a progressive process of first purification by constant hearing, then absorption, and then affection, and then pure devotional service. Thank you very much. Kwantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Go Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo.